Good morning. I'm Dave Westcott, CEO of Evergreen Brands, TransBlue, Condo Shield, Snow Bros, and a couple others. And today it's Vince and Dave Live. Wait a minute. You're not Vince. What happened to, you're much prettier than Vince. This is actually Aimee. So today it's Dave and Aimee Live. We've replaced Vince with Aimee. Sorry, Vince. We've said that more than once. We have a good time with that. And Aimee is president of everything. So she's the boss of the bosses. So it's kind of cool that we have the president of TransBlue and of Evergreen Brands here today as a special guest that I'm honored to be able to interview and chat with. And she also happens to be my wife. Look at that. It's a husband and wife team, the husband and wife duo. And that's a cool thing. Say hi.
Hi.
That's all she might want to say today. She did not want to. She did not want to get in front of the camera. But no, you know what's something cool is we're at the SIMA show today, a leadership forum in Austin, Texas. So we're doing some traveling. And what is this, babe? Our third trip this summer? Fourth trip this summer?
Third or fourth trip.
So we always go together everywhere we go.
We have a great time.
We take lots of business trips together, and it's always us, right?
Yes.
No matter what, we're always together. And so that's a big part of business. So as you're thinking about your business and you're thinking about what you're doing today, we always talk about the $1 million idea. That's what we're always focusing on. That's what this whole LinkedIn Live is all about the $1 million idea. And to build a $1 million business, you got to work hard.
Work hard. So
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and she's totally unprepared for this. This is totally unscripted. So if you don't like it, we apologize. You can turn us off if you don't want to, but we're just going to have some fun. So Aimee comes from an entrepreneurial family. So $1 million idea is really important. Her dad was an entrepreneur, built a $1 million business. Tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up with an entrepreneur.
Oh, that's a good question. I would say that he always worked hard and took a lot of trips, but he always made time for our family, just like you take time for our family.
So one of the things that was important, and you might get a little background noise because we're shooting this live in a hotel. This is live and uncut. But so one of the things that he built was an insurance business. And building that insurance business, he built it from the ground up. He didn't have a single client when he started his business, but he wanted a good way to be able to take care of his family, and he felt like insurance was the way to do that. And when he started that business, what did he do? He did a lot of cold calling, didn't he?
He did. He started it back when it was a lot harder, I think, to do something like that back 50 years ago.
And what was he doing? He was calling on the phone. He was pounding the pavement. Tell us a little bit about what he did.
He would look up, I think, the yellow papers, I think it was called at the time.
Yep.
He would look up and he would call around businesses and churches and things that he would insure. And he also, I think, did some door-to-door, just looking to meet people and to sell insurance.
And he had some tough times too, right? There was an underwriter who wouldn't write with him for a period of time.
He definitely had some tough times.
Just with some of that, and that took a lot of grit.
Yes, it did.
There was a period of years they didn't even sell any insurance, right?
Yeah, there were some hard years.
There was some tough moments in what that looked like. He also had an entertainer coach business.
Yes.
How did he get into that?
Along the way, he also was into singing gospel music, and he flew to Nashville. My sister and brother and I got to go, and when we were looking at a bus just for personal use, they offered if we would want to start a business. So it just kind of happened from that. Sometimes one thing leads to another business.
That's right. He was a serial entrepreneur.
Even looking for it. Yeah.
And he built that up to 3 entertainer coaches. Mm-hmm. These are multi-million-dollar buses. People like Ozzy Osbourne were on the bus. Let's see, George Bush was on the bus. Al Gore was on the bus. Lil Wayne was on the bus. These are just some of the people that I can remember that were on the bus and all of that. So Jim was a super hard worker. And to tie this back to snow, I can tell you that when I had my snow business, I remember being out to dinner, I think it was in 2012.
I remember that.
And we were in the middle of a brutal snowstorm. And it was just killing us. But I still made time to go out to dinner with Aimee.
You did.
Even though it was chaos.
I know more about that now.
Yeah, more about that now. And I'm playing with this little thing because we're going to go do s'mores later with the kids. So don't let that distract you. I know Rich is over there cringing every time I pick it up. He's saying, put that thing down, man. And but regardless of that, I'm not going to fidget with that. So, but we're sitting there at the dinner table and we're eating at the Nordstrom's Cafe, and it's sitting across from him. And I need more snowplow drivers. So anybody who's in the snow business, anybody who knows about this, knows we always need drivers. We always need people. And it had just been a brutal storm. It was going on. I think it was the 5th or 6th or even 7th day of the storm, just nonstop snow. And he said, "Hey, my cousin has a couple of sons, and you know, they can hook up with you and they can do some driving for you." And so he got right on the phone and he called them up, and sure enough, boom, they came right out and they got in the trucks and they're rocking and rolling, and they're taking care of plowing some snow for us. And it's really that family connection, right? It's having family first. It's looking out for, and I wasn't even family at the time. He was probably thinking, who is this jerk dating my daughter? But at the end of the day, he was a serial entrepreneur, and he was, all about helping us through that moment. But that was a tough moment. That was a super tough moment for me along my journey, because we were in the midst of this brutal storm. And in the midst of that storm, we were trying to manage the client expectations. We were trying to take care of everything that they were doing. So we just got interrupted by the guy at the Omni Barton Hotel. He wanted to make sure we had permission to shoot this video. And it's a good thing we got Rich behind the camera, because he pulled off more of his magic. But we're here shooting for Sima, so we're all good anyway. But anyways, we're back to the story. And that's the fun about shooting this thing live. You get to see all the bloopers and all the craziness that happens. They may even cut me out sharing this. But at the end of the day, it's all about having grit. It's all about, working hard, and it's all about, really that entrepreneurial spirit that it takes to be successful. So what we learned there was that, one, it's tough in the storm. 2, to get through the storm, it can be really tough. And 3, it's great to have family that you can rely on to help you take your business where you need it to go. And you learn a lot from those business leaders, those other people who are in business, because they can act as mentors, and they have walked down the path and they've been there before. So one of the things I think that you can really look at as far as building your $1 million business is, focus on who can you connect with, who's close with you in your life, what kind of mentor are you looking for, and how can that person help you really take your business, to the next level. And that was kind of a cool thing, right?
It was.
That was a good moment.
Yeah.
And we had got through that storm and we kept building, and the cool thing about that was Royce, one of the drivers, actually went to work for your parents and drove bus for them for several years.
Yeah, kind of worked out good. Yeah.
So what do you think, if your dad was sitting here today, what do you think he would tell us about business?
That's another good question. I'm sure he'd have a lot of really good advice. One would probably be staying the course, I think, at anything that you do. Sometimes, people want like instant success or they want to see something right away. But sometimes his thing that he was always really a believer in was that you had to stick to something and work at it. And sometimes he would have friends or new people who would want to do too many different things, and if it didn't work out, they would just quit that and go on to the next. But sometimes you have to stick at something, work really hard, see that succeed until you would want to do something else.
Exactly.
I think that would be something that would be really good advice that he would probably say.
Yeah, that's great advice. Come here, Dee. Here.
Get a phone call.
Because we're in the hotel and we take everybody with us all the time, this is D. This is little D. And so we're just gonna say hi to the camera.
Hi.
So we're here getting his show ready. Someone called, and since we're in the hotel and we're doing this live, he's got to have his little show on because we want him to have an incredible customer experience too. So we're making sure he's dialed in. But yeah, that's a good point. And your mom, she runs the business today. Do you want to come in and say hi too? This is our daughter, Madeline. She's future CEO. Wave to the crowd.
Hi. Hi.
Okay, go sit down. There you go. Look at that. So now you've met our whole family. And since you've met our whole family, we'll just share with you, there's one in there too. So here's the public announcement. We're having another baby. So not only do you get to hear about $1 million idea, you also get to hear that we're having one more child. We're going to name him Charlie David. So there you go. You get a little mother drop of nugget information for what we're shooting here today. But you know, the biggest thing is that, you know, as you're building your business and as you're really looking for that $1 million idea, it really comes down having grit, working hard, working through the tough times, no matter what it is. Find that really good mentor. And what was yours again?
What was mine?
Your dad's tip.
Oh.
I'm going to let you share it. It's your dad.
About just sticking to one thing and working really hard at it and seeing it succeed.
Sticking to it and letting it succeed. And what an awesome point that is. I really like it because it's so easy to get distracted by shiny objects, right? You can look at your business and you can say, oh, look it, I'll do that. Oh, and look it, I'll do that. And oh, I'll do residential work and I'll do commercial work and I'll do government work and I'll do multifamily work. And it's really good to get really good at one type of work.
And then do more things.
Right? And then expand and then grow, but really master where you're at. So that's just a great piece of advice as you're building your business and as you're growing your business. Get really good at it. You know, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something, right? And if you think you work 2,080 hours in a year, some of us entrepreneurs work 4,160 hours in a year, so we get to master things quicker because we work a lot more. But the average person, 2,080 hours a year, you can think it's going to take you 5 years to master something. And so you put in that hard work, you put in that time, you put in that dedication, and you're going to have misses, you're going to have things that you don't love. But at the end of the day, you got to stick to it, don't quit, and keep working. You know, one of the things that's easy to do is to put a time frame on something. And you might say, hey, you know what, if this doesn't work out in 1 year, or if this doesn't work out in 6 months, or if this doesn't work out in 3 years, then I'm going to let it go. And that, if you've done that, if you're putting that together, then you've already failed. Your business is already not going to make it. You need to eliminate that mindset and go for broke all the time. And then part 2 is you got to live an amazing life. And you do that by taking your family with you everywhere you go. I believe that family is an integral part of business. And I've seen so many business owners and so many people in business work so hard for their family only to lose their family, only to get divorced, only to never be around, only to not make it through that. And I think family is the reason why you got into business. Family is the reason why you're providing for your kids and your children and your wife. And you don't want to lose that by overworking. So one of the most amazing things is to take them with you. Bring them along on the journey. And when they're on the journey, they'll never forget it. Like if you see videos with us and you see what goes on, we always have our kids with us. We're always together in pictures. We're always together on the road. We're always at restaurants, at outings, at games, because we're living an amazing life while we're working super hard. We're not sitting here planning the next vacation saying, hey, I can't wait to go on vacation and we're going to do all these things. We just go to work and then vacations and fun happen, and it happens every night.
Enjoy
whether we're at home. That's right. We enjoy the ride along the way. And that is so much of what business is. And when you look at success and when you define success, if you're defining success as $1 million or $10 million, I think at the end of your life, you can't take any of that with you. And what did you accomplish? Were you able to do it with the people that you loved? Today is our 8th year wedding anniversary. So we've been married for 8 years today. So happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
So that's really exciting. But I've known her for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that getting her to marry me, it took me like 15 years of convincing. I had to work hard. I had to have grit. There was moments I didn't want to do this. I thought, oh my gosh, is it ever going to come true? Am I ever going to get her to marry me?
That's another story.
I can remember thinking, oh man, is this not going to work out? She doesn't want to hear the story. But at the end of the day, you know what? It's grit and determination in marriage, in life, in friendship, in everything that you do. You get close with people, you're in with those people, and you really have to work hard for it. Yeah. And we work hard in our marriage, right? We put that first. And that is a part of being successful. If you really want that $1 million business, if you really want that $1 million life, you know, you can't have it alone. And I'll tell you that when I go on a business trip and I leave, and if they don't come with me, I instantly miss them. I instantly wish they were there. And I might think to myself, oh man, this is going to be fun. I'm going to go see this show, or I'm going to go out to dinner, or I'm going to do these things. But it's never as fun when you're by yourself. And when you go to the hotel room at the end of the night, or you go home at the end of the day, and it's empty, and it's alone, and there's no one else there, it's just not worth it, right? What's the point? But when you do it with somebody else, it's always fun. We've got 2 kids. We're always traveling on the airplanes. People say, how do you do it on the airplanes? Well, we just buckle down. We have fun. The kids are good flyers. We've got a system, right? We hit up pre-TSA. We sit in the right seats. We make sure that we're really planned out.
We figured it out.
It doesn't mean that every moment along that journey is easy. But what it means is that we work hard. We put in extra grit, extra time, extra effort, and we build our business together. Everything we do is together. Every meeting, every seminar, every association, everything is just the 2 of us. And if I can give you one tip to build your business, if I can give you one thing to help you take it to the next level, it's build with your family. Build with the people you love. Build with the people who are close to you. And you're going to have so much fun, and you're going to have an amazing time along that journey. And guess what? When something doesn't work out, you've got your partner right there to say, it's okay. I'll pick you up. I couldn't think of a better support person than my wife. Most understanding, most on my side, most ready to go. And I'll tell you this, I was just walking through the hotel lobby, and didn't expect to see my kids. This is actually totally impromptu. So I just grabbed her and said, hey, let's shoot this video. And the kids are walking by, and they come out and they say, and see, we just waved at some people. And the kids see me, and all the way across the hotel room, they're like, Daddy, come here. No matter what just happened in the rest of this business, no matter what happened today, good or bad, that little big hug, that love from those kids, it washes all that away. And you want to know what's important in life because you can't take it with you. And the thing is, I watched my dad, who was also a businessman, and I watch him get older, and the older he gets, so much knowledge, so smart, such an amazing man. The older he gets, the less people respect him. The less people validate the things that he's accomplished. The less people care about what he's done. And at the end of the day, this is the true fact. When you're older and you're gone, or you're at the age where you're retired, people are going to forget about your business. They're going to forget about the things you accomplished and the things that you built. The only thing that remains is the love and the relationship that you have with your family. It's the only thing that takes you care. So if you really want that $1 million idea, then stay connected with your family, invest in your family, spend time with your value. And here's another tip. This one's just for free. If you build $1 million business and then get divorced because you didn't spend time with your family, you just lost your $1 million business. Or in some cases, it can cost you tens and twenties of millions of dollars in the divorce. So that's a tip for free, and that'll help save you money in the long run. And like a good friend of mine says, if that tip pays off, just go ahead and send me the check for what you think that little tidbit was worth, because I believe that's worth its weight in gold. So just to kind of bring this into conclusion, and I know this is fun, this is totally live, this is totally spur of the moment, you gotta have grit. You gotta be super tough at what you do. You can't quit in the hard times. Rely on family, invest in family. Those are the people who get you through the hard times. Be really, really good at one thing, and then make your immediate family, your kids, your wife, all of those people, make them a part of everything that you're doing in your business, because that's what's fun and that's what's successful. You have any words for us as we end this show with Vince and Dave? Cross out Vince, Aimee live.
I had a good time.
You had a good time?
Yeah.
Any last words from your dad, Jim Arneson? What would he leave us with?
Oh man, kind of shared what I was thinking.
Got one little nugget in there for us?
I'm trying to think of one
I'll
more
give you
thing.
one for he would say. Here's a little tip from Jim. And he would say, if you're forced to make a decision today, don't make the decision. If somebody's putting pressure on you and they say this is the best deal, I can only give it to you now, don't let them put the pressure on you.
Yeah.
Wait, be patient, think it through. There's always something coming. But if you really want that $1 million business, and you really want to be happy, and you really want that life that you dream about and that you see, you build it with your family. And we're celebrating 8 years today. We've got our kids with us. We've got a little baby on the way. And I can tell you that we have an amazing time everywhere we go together, because we're doing business together, we're doing life together, and we're not sitting around thinking about where we're going to go next. We're just having an amazing time in the moment. So live in the moment, and number one thing, give God the glory in everything you do, because nothing happens without His blessing. That's Vince and Dave, now Vince and Dave, now Dave and Aimee live. We'll be back in 2 weeks, same bat time, same bat channel. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you're thinking about starting and building a business, check out transbluefranchisecompany.com.